All right, guys. Oh, wait, Brody's going to do the intro today.
Okay. Welcome, guys, to the Afters Hotline. This is a segment where we've got some submissions from some fans sending questions in. Going to go through a couple of them just now.
Fans in loose terms.
Yeah, so if you're keen to put your 2 cents in or ask us something for the next one, make sure you head over to our Instagram, the link in the bio. Questions from Sadie.
Sean's dog sending in questions.
There's your dog sending in questions, lad. All right, next one's from Sadie.
Hey guys, big fans, love what you're doing. Had a question. What is your favourite event that you guys have held over all these years?
Oh,
You just want to go first? Oh, yeah, no, I think I know my answer.
it's hard to say. Obviously, our Bliss before there was Switch. I think every single one of them were pretty special.
I think I've felt the most
Special.
I think I've been the most buzzing after the first Bliss.
Yeah,
Like, next day.
Oh, yeah, the feeling of relief, just not wanting to do anything, just wanting to lie in bed and just feel grateful. Everything going well.
But then there was also the Manning Bar
Manning
one.
Bar.
I was going to say the Manning Bar one.
Pretty sick after that as well.
Yeah, we obviously had no idea, but we still don't. But I just think because that was our first sort of big event, over 400 people. Everything went so well, cool production. I would probably say Manning Bar. Manning Bar and first Bliss.
I think October Bliss, where it was just 1,500 people.
Yeah, that was fun.
Just rammed.
We didn't even play at that one, did we?
I played second.
Did we play?
Oh, no,
Nah,
yeah, you
'cause
played.
I handed over to Kalidi.
Yeah.
That's why we got 1,500.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
draw
yeah,
card.
me-
Draw card,
Me
mate.
and Sean weren't playing.
Fucking losers.
That was insane. That was just bodies everywhere.
Next up is Anonymous.
Are you sure?
Anonymous is sending through a lot of questions.
What's happening, lads? Just wanted to drop a line and ask if it's true that Dark Horse was set to be Rabbitoh's superstar, one of the best centres in the game, I heard, and just couldn't stop himself from bendering, so they had to let him go. I also heard he had the confidence knocked out of him by a young Holy Cross team back in the day, but yeah, it's sad to see such talent go to waste.
He's still going.
Dark Horse is sending himself questions. I think that's true.
Yeah.
Young
Nah,
prodigy.
That's not true.
You had a, what's the word? Promising future in rugby league.
Just, no, I don't know about promising.
Just
What
the
do you
future.
fucking define promising?
Oh, you were water boy for the 2014 grand final, weren't you?
I was the ball boy.
Tell us about your footy days, mate.
Was that your way into the first grade squad?
Supposed to be.
Mm.
Didn't really work out like that.
No, not at all.
Where did it end?
He's not
for you?
far off. Whoever
He's
sent-
actually not. He's not
He's
fucking
not far-
far off, to be
I've
honest.
got a sneaky feeling I know who that one is.
started larrying too much as well.
Nah. So I think it. I can't even have to justify myself about this. I think it.
Where did it go wrong?
The timing of when I was about to finish playing,
It wasn't for the
and
knee
and
injury.
the time I started partying, coincidentally, were around the same period. But I did stop playing because I got a couple bad injuries.
Oh. I had trials at West Ham.
What happened to
And-
you? What were the injuries? Talk us through it.
So first was my ankle, which I
Yep.
snapped my ankle.
Snapped that.
What's the syndesmosis?
Oh, yep.
Ligaments come off the bone.
Making words up now.
It's a made-up injury for sure.
Syndesmosis.
I'll have to fact check this one.
Then next was the shoulder Rico.
Mm.
See, the
Oh.
skull
Oh,
there.
grow up.
Grow up.
Grow up.
Get the magnifying glass.
It is called keyhole surgery.
Ah.
And then during that time I started partying, but then I put partying to one side and I said I'm gonna get one more crack.
Mm.
And then
What age was this? 16 or something?
18, 19, 16.
Couldn't be.
16, fuck. I was a late bloomer.
Mm.
It's the ones you got to worry about.
That's legal going partying when you're 18. It's not late as such.
What?
You said you were a late bloomer going out when you're 18.
Yeah, but there was kids doing it was a lot worse than that, a lot earlier.
We operate within the law here, mate.
Yeah,
Alright.
exactly. can't believe I'm fucking still going on about this. Anyway, then I fucking ruptured my hamstring.
Grow up.
Tore it off the bone. So that was it.
Made up stories. Walt Disney.
And then shortly after that, I went to Harbour Life, and that was it.
The Dunzo.
Didn't look back.
Now
So
look
now
at
in
you.
Harbour Life, yeah. If you got fuzzy. The last one is from Kesson. Big up, Kess.
Pick up the Kesson. Queensland's finest.
One of the hottest topics in the East at the moment is who's the most handsome of the Beat Boys. Just one for you boys to discuss. A lot of chat about Sean being up there, but
Rightly so.
I don't know. I'm happy to see where you guys end up with this one. Enjoy, boys. Welcome back.
I think we're all pretty
I'm
huge.
not going to disagree with what he said.
Speak for
Yeah,
yourself.
speak for yourself, lad.
I don't know. Tough one. I'm ruling myself out.
I'm not going to disagree. Maybe a bit of a tan and be unstoppable. Bit of a tan, bit of extra muscle.
So
couple
there's a
more
few
things.
things.
There's a few
There's a
It's not
few
so much
things.
for the rest of his, but
Huh?
it's not so much for the rest of his.
Yeah. I don't.
You got the beard and the blue eyes. About it for you.
That's about it.
At least we're keeping our rigs kind of
Hey,
tidy.
At the Run Club.
shout out to the Run Club.
The unofficial run club.
There already is an unofficial Run Club. So that.
Unofficial run club being us three. Friday mornings.
It's pretty official.
Very unorganised. It's always chaos.
Hey boys, I want to know who your favourite producers are, both from Sydney and around the world at the moment.
No, that went better than I thought it was gonna go. That would be a stitch up question there for sure.
I think
It was an anonymous person.
locally we're probably all in agreement. Caleb Jackson,
Yeah.
producer locally.
No brainer.
Yeah. Recent EP on Elro.
4-track EP.
Yeah. Few tracks that have done really well in the charts. I think that's a simple one we all agree on. Yeah, and then probably shout out to our boy Hort as well.
Yeah, Hoyt is sick.
Local lad starting to get his tunes out to the world, really doing some good things.
Yeah, he's probably 4 or 5 years deep now. Starting to find the sweet spot of it. And then who overseas the minute?
Well, sorry, JMK as well.
JMK, yeah.
More on the techno
yeah,
side,
on the
but
techno.
or hard groove.
JMK is sick.
Yeah.
Signed to Bad Boombox
Yeah,
label.
Bad Boombox's label and techno as well. Very
Around the world.
Around the world. My first one would be probably, there's a few, probably Coulter. I just think that his production and level of depth and stuff in there is just next level.
yeah, Coulter's sick. Whose music am I fucking listening to a lot?
East End Dubs would be there for sure.
East End Dubs is sick.
Enzo is burning.
Oh, yeah, he's popping off at the minute.
Yeah.
Marco Corolla playing all his tunes.
Yeah. What's the I think it's called It Girl.
The main one that's popping off is
Give It Up.
no.
Or Give It to Me or something.
That's very Murphy's Law kind of Brody vibes.
Oh fuck yeah, Murphy's Law.
Yeah, shout out to
Oh, here we go.
yeah, shout out to
Everything
Hasn't
they're,
stop fucking talking about him.
everything they're putting out at the moment is just quality.
recent EP that is, I think, went to #1 on the Tech House release chart.
What, Karma?
Karma, yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of The Beat. Today we have a very special guest from the UK, Dorley. How's it going, mate?
Thanks for having me. Hello.
How's the tour been? Good?
Yeah, good. I just kind of, I feel like I've only just started. I've been here 2 weeks, but I've only played 2 shows because I've just been cramming a load of other stuff in while I've been here. So I played in the Gold Coast at Burley Pavilion last weekend, and that was wicked. I played at Ivy on Saturday, and that was good as well. So 2 down, and then the next 2 weeks are just like kind of nuts. 4 show weekends, 2 festivals and stuff like that. So it's going to go all crazy from Thursday, but it's been a nice kind of gentle start in. Like there's no jet lag. It's been great.
Beautiful weather for you as well.
Well, it wasn't last week, was it?
Oh, yeah,
This
true.
is not where I came from.
Made you look like a melt.
Yeah. No, it was really, it was like, was that rain? It was like, actually, Saturday.
Bucketing
just before,
down. Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
before, because the club
I was talking about.
by the pool was like everyone's by the pool. It was really busy, and then that rain came, and it just everyone ran for cover, and it was like starting from nothing again.
Yeah.
It was everyone kind of crawled back out into the venue once the rain had stopped, but it was like it looked like it was over, and hopefully it is now. looks nice now
At
anyway.
least the good weather's here.
Yeah,
now,
exactly. Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
Where have you been?
My own world.
So how many shows have you got for this tour?
So there's the 2 there. I'm doing this kind of day festival in Queenstown, New Zealand on Thursday, then Puffed Up Melbourne on Saturday, and then what's after that? Oh, then to Your Paradise Festival in Fiji,
Oh, okay, that'll be awesome.
then to Bali to play at Hatch, and then back to Sydney to do Blueprint, and then finishing off at Revolver in Melbourne. So I lost count then when I was talking. I wasn't even counting.
What's that?
8,
9,
maybe.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Fiji would be cool.
It will be, yeah. I've done all of those so far. It's really good. It's just, it's just a beautiful place. It's one of those festivals. It's one of the few festivals that you go to where you kind of come back like rejuvenated because it's kind of healthy there. It's like and it's you just want to chill because you're in Fiji, you know. So it's you go to bed earlier than you normally would. It's good. It's a nice place to be.
Early sets there? Or?
Yeah. Well, no, my first set is my first set. Yeah, my first set's like 7 till 9, like a little private island thing. My next set is on that floating barge, Cloud 9.
yeah.
It's their
That's it.
10th anniversary, so we're doing that. That's like 2 p.m. And the last set I'm doing is an day after hours thing, which is like 12 till 2. That's like as late. It finishes at 2, so that's as late as it goes. Yeah.
Is that because of sound restrictions, or it's just?
Possibly, yeah, maybe. And I think a lot of the people go there to surf as well and do they have wellness classes and stuff as well. So I think it's just not that kind of vibe, you know. It's not really it's people are there like partying and stuff, but it's not one of the people go to bed, you know. It's just like people. There's nice things to do in the daytime every day, like. People want to get up and do that and go to the excursions and the private island things and the boat parties and stuff. So, yeah.
There's a few festivals in Oz. I don't know if it's in the UK and Europe as well, where they have like a wellness aspect to it. Like Lost Paradise, New Year's Eve Festival, Beyond the Valley, they have obviously the parties and stuff, but on the side they have like retreat, kind of meditation, different bits. Do they have that in the UK?
There's more cropping up now. There wasn't really before. There is a few. I can't think of one off the top of my head now, but there is definitely a few now that are happening in Europe and stuff. Yeah, there's loads in America as well. It's becoming part of clubbing now, which is great. It's like I think it's a really important part, and just give some balance. You know, try and keep people. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and if you can try and break it up with a few things like that, because some of the festivals you do just never stop, and it's
Just
like,
go bonkers
especially the ones in the middle of the desert and stuff. You go and play at them, and it's like there's no wellness there. It's just like just go.
debauchery.
Yeah, so it's nice, you know. It's good. It's good. All festivals should have something like that, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think you see a lot more DJs too starting to talk about wellness more. One off the top of my head, Lee Foss last year, he's doing like his sort of fitness journey kind of thing, because he was like obviously been in the game for a long time and just sort of trashed his body, and then now he's on the whole like I need to balance it and like looking after myself kind of vibe.
Yeah, there does seem to be more. I think there's been a lot of talk about, you know, mental health and stuff like that in recent years, and it's so important to have that balance. Otherwise, you see what happens to acts that don't look after themselves, and you burn out young, and your career suffers, and your health suffers, your family life suffers. It's just you've got to find a balance there somewhere, haven't you? Everyone's got their own journey. Everyone does it in their own time, and you know there's a good support network out there, more than there ever has been. Yeah, there's a lot of support and a lot of communities you can join and stuff like that. So yeah, no, it's really good. We do a lot of it with our academies and stuff. You know, it's something that it's really important. If you want to have a good long career and a healthy life, you've got to have some balance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just on the academy, do you want to tell us a bit about your academy / retreats that you do?
Yeah, we have it's called Orbit. We do retreats. We've got one launching in Australia, probably mid to end of next year. We're just working out the details. I've been busy this week working on that. But we do them in Ibiza. We've been doing them in Ibiza for about 5 years. 24 students at a time, and we have our headline mentors. We have Gorgon City at the last one, Sam Divine, Shadow Child, Nightmares and Wax. Junior Sanchez was there. You know, people like that come in and they're our headline mentors, and then we have really good like mentors across the board. And for our retreat, is kind of our unique thing about it is it's a holistic thing. That's you come in and whatever level you're at, we do. You learn music production, whatever level you need, DJing skills again, beginner or advanced, and then every artist that comes to us will get like new press shots, a new bio gritting, so they get a new full press pack designed and then some social media advice on how to, improve what they're doing on social media. You just go through these like stations and learn as you go. And then mental health is a big part of it. We have a mental health team there that kind of speak to everyone and as part of their stops. And then fitness and meditation and yoga and all that kind of stuff in the morning. And it's just like a one-stop kind of like during those 5 days, you kind of get a bit of everything. At the end of the week, everyone plays a gig together in Ibiza. So that's kind of our model, and it works. It's been working really well. I've got like 100 former like students now who are all part of our little crew that we all have in like a WhatsApp group and support them and help them try and get the tracks signed and all that kind of stuff. It's great. It's kind of like my life's. I've been doing this 20 years, so it's kind of like become my kind of like my life's work that I'm like really proud of, and it feels a lot more selfless and wholesome than being a DJ. It's like it's good. It gives me balance and it gives me inspiration as well. So yeah.
What was the inspiration for starting that?
I mean, I've always done. My inspiration for starting for being a mentor was me having great mentors. Like my mentors, I would say, were like Fatboy Slim, Green Velvet, Pete Tong, people like that, taking me under their wing and giving me Todd Terry, people like that, Armand Van Helden. These are people that I've like met along the way early in my career who've really taken me under their wing and given me guidance and offered me opportunities and supported me. And it's made such a big difference to my career that I probably wouldn't be here without all of their input along the way. And same with great managers that I've had along the way. Having these people in my corner have really elevated my career and made me not make as many mistakes as I could have made. So that inspired me to, when I got to a good level, to do the same and take people under my wing. So every year in Ibiza, I'd take on like 2 or 3 like prodigy that I think would kind of help like be part of my things, my parties that I was running. Because I used to run a load of parties in Ibiza, so I'd always have these guys like doing the warm-ups and helping them out, teaching them how I was running the event and doing the promotion and helping them get the tracks. Like most of them not making music, so trying to get them onto that, signing them to my label, getting them onto other labels, and bringing them through to the point where they would get their own manager and agent. Because I never had any interest in being a manager or agent, because it's just I've got enough of my own stuff to handle. So, but I would help them to the point where they would get that attention and then help them move on. And it got to the point where I was just spending so much time helping, because it was something that made me feel great. One of the best things you can do is help other people in any aspect of life. It makes you feel good, like the kind of serotonin boost that you get from helping somebody else. It's just the best feeling in the world. It's like a drug, so it was really, I was really loving it, but I was finding that I was getting too distracted from my own career because I was just constantly helping everybody else, but then not helping myself. And then I realized I was also doing people a disservice, because I was kind of like promising them I would help them, and then I'd be on tour like this now, and they'd have something important that they need my help with, but I just wouldn't be able to respond because I'm too busy just on tour. And then it'd slip down my unread messages, and before some are so polite that they don't message you again. And I was feeling, the guilt of, it's like leaving your dogs when you're going out for the night. The guilt that you feel when there's somebody waiting for your help, it was just too much. So I was like, right, I need like a support team here to do it. But how do we I can't find a team of people that want to care and help people like this. So we started on a small scale and just doing this as like, having a team to support and also mentor and also be there to answer messages and all that kind of stuff. So we started it small and just grew it from there, and it's grown into something really, really good. It's like anyone that's been will tell you what a beautiful experience it is. Everyone cries at the end. Everyone's friends for life. We're going to do some kind of event where we cross-pollinate all the former groups together, because they're all friends. Awesome. They're all becoming friends and joining each other's, playing each other's parties. It's just an amazing experience that like I'll never stop doing. And it's not, we want to find ways to grow it in different ways so it can become more of my career, but without, I need a team, because I don't want to give up on my own career fully yet. I've got a bit of life left in the old dog yet. So, I want to make sure I satisfy my own itch for where I need to get to, what I need to achieve, the finishing off with a good album, things like that, and before I can like slow things down too much. So, but yeah, it's working perfectly in unison with what I'm doing, and we're not taking on too much. We're just doing the right kind of events. So it's been great.
Yeah. So you touched on being able to help sort of people and having young emerging acts leaning on you for advice in the early stages of their career. What's sort of one moment that you would look back on as like sort of a changing moment that things clicked for you or sort of progressed you to that next level when you were coming through?
Well, there's been so many. Like Fatboy Slim. I entered a DJ competition to make a mix of Southern Fried Records tracks, which is his label, and I won that. And then from that point onwards, Fatboy Slim and his management, Anglo Management, who are the best management company, they kind of took me on straight away and basically just helped me so much with finding my way there. Also, so that was great, you know, signing records to his label, similar to what I would do now when I find someone, I bring them through my own label until I can, you know, but they did so much for me, and just having Fatboy Slim as someone to talk to about anything is just
Pretty
incredible.
elite,
the guy's
isn't it?
he's the best. He's the biggest
Biggest
DJ that
artist
ever
in the
walked the
world.
earth. No
Yeah.
one's going to surpass that. You know, you can do bigger numbers, but you know, is there anyone in the world if you ask your little sister or your nan or the guy in the shop, like, do you know who Fatboy Slim is? They would all know who it is. Whereas, you know, any of these big EDM stars who are doing these big numbers now, they're a generational thing right now. They haven't got that history.
Yeah.
You know, it's unbelievable what the guy's achieved, and such a great person as well. Just like one of the nicest. He's one of the people that, you know, I've always thought of myself to be a nice bloke. So there might be some that disagree. I don't know. I struggle to find them. But Fatboy Slim was someone that, and Green Velvet, and you notice like a good person when they're just good to everybody. They're not good to people depending on their status. Like, they're just nice to absolutely everybody you could possibly meet, and it's such a good trait to see. And they're so humble as well. You know, they don't. You'll talk to them and you'd be, at first you're intimidated and you kind of fanboy, but they don't want that. They're just shy about it and humble, because they're great, and they'll just want to offer advice. So they taught me a lot about everything. You know, that was huge. Pete Tong picking me as a future talent and giving me a Radio 1 Essential mix. That was a huge jump in my career. Green Velvet signing me to his label and collaborating with me. He's like my ultimate hero in music. You know, to be able to collaborate several times with him on his label, it's like such an honor. You know, that I'm so proud of my releases on that label. You know, and I'm going to do some more. You know, it's just unbelievable to be able to send him messages and get feedback on my tracks. You know, it's still blows my mind. You know,
everyone idolizes these people, and then here you are.
Yes, I do as well. It's unbelievable. I pinch myself, you know, to be, and lots of the people in the music industry that's just like, I'm just really proud to call my friends, you know, and colleagues and peers, you know.
You say you're close to living the dream?
Oh yeah, I've been living a dream for 15 years. Yeah, it was like, constantly. Yeah, I don't take it for granted. It's been a completely wild ride. Like this places this music thing's got me to, like moving out to LA, you know, moving to Ibiza, buying a house in Ibiza. All that's come from music. You know, it's a amazing career I've had. So yeah.
I did read online that you moved to LA for a bit and then you went back to Ibiza. What was the catalyst for first move, like wanting to move to America?
I mean, I just loved it there. I started touring there, and there was a really good scene just emerging. And
how long ago was this? Sorry,
must be 10 years ago, maybe more. No, probably more actually. Yeah, probably like 13 years ago. So I was just I was having a real moment. Getting booked to all the festivals in America is like the hot new thing. And that's the best time in your career, when you're on that kind of first wave, when everyone's just discovering you and there's this like buzz about you. We all have it. And then it's like how you handle it next. And then you have some peaks and troughs, and you just got to always like keep riding. But yeah, that was I guess the most exciting part of my career, as it will be for all artists, when you're just getting, you know, you're coming from nothing and all of a sudden everyone's talking about you and everyone wants to work with you. It's unbelievable. So I moved to LA just because it's a great place to live. I absolutely loved it. I think of it as one of the best times in my life, you know, living there, and all my friends that I made, and the scene that I was part of there. There was a new scene happening with house music, and I was a good part of that, you know, throwing parties and stuff. So yeah, it was amazing. And then I lived about 7 years there, but because I was so busy in Ibiza in the summer, I had two places, one in Ibiza, one in LA. So I was doing LA all winter, Ibiza all summer, and it was just too much having two houses really. So I had a decision to make. It was time to buy a house at that point, because I'd saved up a deposit. So I was like, Ibiza, LA. Then I met my wife at the end of that season, and my decision was made. I had to move back to Europe, you know, and it was family as well. You know, I wanted to be near my family, and yeah, it was just like, I look back at like the sliding doors moment that I had there. I could have gone and lived in LA, and what difference it would have made to my career, or whatever. But it's just like, you know, I've got to wife and a beautiful son now, and we've got this life in Ibiza that's much different than what LA would have been, but in a different way. It's great. So it's good. I would go back one day maybe, but I would recommend it to anyone to go live there. It's a great place when you're young in music and you want to connect with people.
How do you think it would have been back then? Because obviously around 10 years ago, like Instagram and stuff wasn't a huge thing. How do you think that would have affected your career if that sort of stuff was as prevalent as it was now?
I mean, it's such a blessing and a curse, social media. It's like, I find it really difficult now just because I did this without it. So, I mean, it was Facebook and stuff, but it wasn't the same, you know. It wasn't, Instagram's different and TikTok and that. It's like, it was just, to do it without and then have to then learn to start becoming this like character on social media. I've flirted with it in the past and I hate it. And it's something I'm really bad on social media because it kind of traumatized me trying to be that person on social media to the point that I'm now like, I can't do that now, you know. It's just, and I don't know, I think when I was younger, thank God it wasn't there because I would have made some mistakes probably, because it's like, it's I look back at some of the stuff even on YouTube and stuff and I'm like, oh my God, who is that guy? Like, it's so embarrassing. You shouldn't be allowed to be famous and on social media until you're like 30 at least, because it's like stuff that comes out of your mouth is just like, you just like,
shut up.
Clearly high. Like what are you talking about? Stop it. Someone should be like, say that, but it's nothing bad, but just like, you just, I remember Pete Tong interviewing me for my Essential Mix. Don't watch this. And
I'll be watching
I
that.
had like a yellow mohawk. I'm from like a small town called Huddersfield. Terrible dress sense, like awful music taste. Like not awful, but like just, well, it was for the time. But when I listen back now, I'm like such a beginner. Too early probably to be on an Essential Mix for the first one I did. And the interview, I can't watch it. I'm just like, the stuff I'm saying, I'm just like not media trained, not that I've ever had training, but you learn over time how to talk. And it's just, and there's a few of those on YouTube that I'm like, I wish I could delete that, but no one cares. No one will ever see them. Yeah. But it's like, I'm kind of grateful that it wasn't there, because you see people like just on social media now and they're young and it's like, it's fun to watch. Like, it's like, you know, but I also feel sorry for them. Like, kind of like, you know, it's fun knowing that, God, that could have been me. That I never have any like, anger or anything towards them, because I know exactly what's going on, and I would have been exactly the same at that age, discovering, you know, all of a sudden being super popular, getting paid loads of money. It's hard to, like, unless you've got somebody really good on your team to like control you, like, and it's so I'm thankful it didn't exist. I mean, at the same time, if you do it well, it could have exploded me much bigger. I mean, I've got a really good global career without having had that. So I'm lucky to have that, you know, from just releasing the music, I guess. But I think it could make you, if you're good at it and you really do learn how to, maybe with the confidence, I had a lot more confidence when I was that age. You just do when you're younger. You just have this kind of like unbreakable confidence that comes across well on social media to a younger crowd, especially. So maybe it would have made me into a bigger artist, but I'm happy where I am. I've never really wanted to, the level I'm at is kind of where I like to be. I don't really want to be like too known. I don't know. I've never been quite shy and I like to let the music do the talking as much as possible. Like, I don't really want to be a personality kind of thing, really. So
I think you see that a lot these days too. Like, I mean, because obviously everyone wants to be a DJ now as well. Like, just popping up left, right, and center. Obviously, social media is a great way to people to promote it, but I think a lot of the time, like, you see genuine people that are actually trying to make a career out of it, and you can see they're putting the work in, but they're just not good at social media as such.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something I know Sean and I have struggled as well, like, as far as like just putting yourself out there and not, it's hard even not to care as such, like worrying about like how well posts are doing and that kind of stuff when you see people that are doing this X, Y, Z and they're getting sort of all this attention for things when you know you're sort of putting in the work. So it's been, I suppose you wouldn't have had that back in when you first started out, because it was literally you're making music or you're not, and you have your music heard or you're not. It wasn't this next layer to it as such.
Yeah, the music did most of it, and I mean, when I started, it was MySpace, and then there was like Facebook in the early days of, but it wasn't the same as like Instagram and Twitter. Twitter was ferocious, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
God damn, that is like I
They
would not.
tear the parts on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like yeah. So it just. I mean, look, there's loads of examples of artists that don't have social media, like Gerd Jansen and people like that. They don't have
True.
social media, and they're still massive because they just consistently do good things and musically and to play great sets. And it takes longer to do it that way. But I feel like you get an audience that you want. You know, you get this audience that are there for the music
Appreciates it.
rather than for you to do something silly on stage. No, look, there's a game either way you play it. I respect always. This whole thing's like a game, and whichever tactic you get your fans and however you want to be known to them. It's up to every person how they want to be, like who they want the fans to be, how they want to be thought of by the fans. You know, everyone's got their own thing. Some people love and some people are great at this social media, be acting, just doing silly stuff on social media. I follow loads of them and they're amazing. It's like, it makes my day. And I'm like, you need people like that to like brighten up your timeline with some fun. Cause if otherwise everyone would be just
Glum.
posting flyers like me or just like nervously talking about it. Yeah, it's hard to find, like, you do need these characters to like make it fun, and you know, some people do both really well and they make great music and they're just amazing like characters. It depends on the character, doesn't it? And like I think it's brilliant, whatever it takes, you know. But don't worry about it. Like, if it's not working, this is great. This is a great way to do social media, isn't it? With podcasts and stuff like that. And yeah, just get good content if you're playing. But you know, people should really focus on making the music as well, because it's kind of what's going to get you global fans, more substantial fans if you're making music as well. You know, it's big. It's a big part of it. And there's people always negative about social media and saying it's, you know, it's not the same. I mean, and it, you know, it used to be just about the music, but it's not. It's still about the music. You still have to do the music. You can't just do all this other stuff and then not have some substance with it. Like I've noticed since having my son, you know, coming out of the pandemic, I'd made so much music, but I didn't really release any of it because it felt pointless because of the clubs. And then my son was 2, and we were moving like to Dublin for a bit, so I didn't have access to my studio. And I just kind of like, he's at this beautiful age now where I just want to spend all my time with him because it's really crucial. Like he's still a baby. He's just becoming a boy, and it's so crucial that I'm with him. So when I'm home, I'm like, kind of made a conscious decision to just take a little bit of a hiatus from music, just to kind of like, you know, I've got enough offers coming. I'm touring probably more than I'm comfortable with at times, you know, to be away for big chunks like this. So I kind of thought I'm going to take a little bit of a time off making music, just for maybe a year, and back everything up and then just release it all. And yeah, I noticed straight away, you know, I've had this 20-year career, but I'm noticing things start to dip off. You know, your crowd, like, because the crowd changes, so the younger crowd don't know who I am as much as they would have done normally, because I haven't released as much this year. I think I released not much at all. So it's like that affects things. So as soon as I start releasing all this arsenal of music I've got lined up, next year it'll start to change again. It's one of those things, hopefully, but it's one of those things that you do need to do that no matter what position you're in. You still kind of have to release music unless your career is based on one of the other art forms that does it, which is I can't do that. I wish I could give myself a holiday.
Yeah.
But I enjoy making music as well, and I enjoy that part of it. But like, if there was something else like that I could do, if I could just go on and do like a comedy routine every day, and people that would be great. But I'm just way too shy for that, unfortunately.
So just on making music, you've gone through a variety of genres over your career, would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Now you sort of settled in the house sort of realm. How would you say you've got to where you are now? And
I mean, just trial and error, really. I mean, I was a house DJ first. Like that was what I played. Well, I kind of learned to DJ as like a turntablist doing hip hop, really. And then, but I would listen to house music. That was my my choice to listen to. But there was no gigs where I was playing that would do house music, because I was in like Huddersfield, which isn't really it has been a house music place over the years. Like, but then at that point when I moved there was no house music events at all. So I was playing hip hop in bars and stuff, and then at the weekend I'd go to Sankey's in Manchester or Leeds and go to the house music events at Back to Basics and stuff like that. And then so then I just thought, right, I'm going to set up a little party of my own doing house music, because there was just really nothing on in town. And we started an after hours thing, and that became really popular. When we do it, so when people, because everyone would get on the train on a Saturday night and go to Leeds or Manchester, which is 30 minutes on a train either way, And then about 2 o'clock in the morning, they'd all arrive back at Huddersfield train station. It'd be a chaos. So we started a party right at the train station,
Smart idea.
2 a.m. till 10 a.m. Just first night sold out. And then from then it just grew. Within a year, we'd bought our own club, one of the partners had. And then we did these warehouse parties, which is where I kind of got to know Armand Van Helden and Pete Tong, Annie Mac, and Calvin Harris, and everybody played for us at some point, you know. So that got me to know everybody, and when I started being able to make music a bit, and then I got my Essential Mix from there. So that all kind of helped. So then I kind of got established around a little bit through all that, and then but because at the time music was such a I was playing with like too many DJs and stuff. I would go around on tour a bit with them when they were in the UK, and that open format kind of way of DJing that they're really great at. And Annie Mac as well on Radio 1 was really known for that. She had a show called The Mashup. So there was a real time in the UK where it was just all about like good quality open format DJing, where it was like the good stuff, not like a kind of commercial or open format way of doing it, but like selector open format DJing, but mixing well. And I was really into that coming from the turntablist thing. So what happened then was the kind of dubstep thing was emerging in London with Rusko and Scream and Benga and everybody else. So I started getting booked on like student nights playing with those guys as well. And like, on the way to those gigs, I would be making edits and stuff to play, which is where my dubstep thing happened. And I'd play them, and then, you know, the DJs would be like, what is this? Like, I just made it. And I'm really, okay. So it just went from there, them playing it, and then I put them on this thing called Hype Machine, which is like a music blog. It used to be the way to get your music discovered. And they all went #1 on Hype Machine, and all of a sudden it's just like, you know, these, they all got signed officially because they were bootlegs of like Armand Van Helden, Basement Jacks, things like that. Then they got officially released, and then it just all kind of blew up, and I was like, what is going on here? I'm like a dubstep sensation, like obviously, but exactly. But I wasn't like, I had no real place in that scene. It was just like I was just making some edits, but it was like, I mean, it was great. It was just like, so I made dubstep for a while alongside house. I was releasing on a lot of those releases. You'll see like 2 versions. There'd be a dubstep version and a house version. Sometimes they'd promise me the house version would go on the vinyl. It didn't, just disappeared. But that was my way of trying to like, not really a dubstep DJ, but I'll do it. That remix they asked me for, but I'm going to also do a house remix just for my own sets.
Sanity.
But it just kind of blew up, and especially in America, which was the time I moved there, because it was just like, this is exciting, and it was really happening there. So yeah, it was great. I made some of my best friends in that world, but I was just kind of like never really like, it was always like house music was my thing really, and I was doing it, but I was kind of like not fully, my heart wasn't fully into it, and I just had to make a decision really because you can't really do both. Like, I mean, there's a couple of exceptions that have been able to, like Scream, who's just supremely talented. Like he can make, he's just unreal. But I wasn't that talented, you know. It's like and so I couldn't, or nowhere near as cool. And it was just like I have to, if I want to do house, I have to stop doing this because it was scaring off my house music fans. Like, I could never grow because they were kind of, is he going to play dubstep set? Because they didn't want to hear that, you know. So my first vinyl release was, one side was a dubstep track, one side was like a minimal techno. It's like, what was I thinking? Like, I thought against lots of great managers' advice that I could be everything to everybody, and not many people can. So I just had to stop. I just kind of, I achieved everything I wanted to do in dubstep. My last big dubstep gig was in Times Square in New York with Nicki Minaj, who I'd done this track with like 35,000 people, and I was like, Jesus, I'm just going to call it quits there. I think I've done everything I need to do here. I'm going to go, no more dubstep gigs, please, no more remixes. I'm going to go and just focus on my house music thing, 'cause I had loads of good stuff ready. That was the point where, you know, Todd Terry and Green Velvet and stuff were starting to give me some help. And
how old were you?
Probably like 25 or something like that, maybe. Yeah, something like that. So it was a good time. I was maturing. I just wanted to be, I'd go to house, I'd play a dubstep gig, then I'd go looking for a house music party to go to, and I wouldn't want to hear dubstep afterwards. You know, it was no disrespect to the genre, because I still enjoy it. Like, I still do enjoy it, but I wasn't enjoying my place in it. It was just didn't feel right. And you know, none of my mates are into it, so they were all like,
not coming. Yeah,
like, it was like no one of my mates even like no one would want to come to my gigs with me. So it's like, it was just like, I mean, I had new friends, but it was like, it just didn't feel right. So I just kind of thought, I'll just stop this. I had to rip the Band-Aid off and stop it. And it was like a tough couple of years, financially trying to really grow back into that and wipe the slate clean with like, so people knew that I wasn't going to do dubstep when I turned up. And I haven't really done it since. And it's my house music thing kind of got back to a good level that I'm happy with. And I'm super confident with what I do musically now. And just feels like my heart's fully in it. I felt like a fraud, I felt like I don't belong here. What am I doing? Like, especially at the level I was at, I was like, it's when you don't really like it, weird. So I've just always kind of made my kind of promise to myself that I'd never do something or release something I'm not really into, because it for whatever reason it just doesn't. You kind of, I felt like ashamed about it. I was kind of going into like a depression because of it, and it was like, that was when I was like, this isn't good. Like, I'm happy young artist, and all of a sudden I'm like doubting everything, and it wasn't nice. So I just thought, just got to stop and do what makes me happy. And I always thought, I could come back to it, and if I wanted to, but I never needed to, luckily. And I've done one set ever since then for my mate in Austin, who was like, look, he's still like, every time I play in Austin, he's like, will you play dubstep? Mate,
Close with it or something.
like, so South by Southwest this year, I did an hour, and all the heads came, all the mates came out from there, and they loved it, and they're like, we do it again next year. Oh God, no, I don't think so. No, I actually really enjoyed it. It was absolutely like proper
hilarious.
blast from the past. It was but I don't know enough about. I don't know. I would compare my, when I'm making music, I wouldn't want to listen to my stuff. I'd want to listen to Screw and Benga, because they're just, what they're doing is like futuristic and just pushing the needle all the time. And but I would never be able to make stuff like that. So I just like, well, what am I doing here? Like, house music, I can do that. I can do new things, and I can do different stuff, and I feel comfortable where I am, because when you're into something, you're just super aware of everything, and you're on point with it. I was never really on point with dubstep. It was just having some fun, It's a long answer there.
It's a very good answer. So, go on, you go.
So your label, Reptile Dysfunction, where did that sort of, obviously a lot of artists want to make their own label and stuff, but as far as like creating your own sound and, bringing artists through, where did that inspiration come from? What are you looking for? What's your vision, I suppose, for the label?
Yeah, I started that as I was traveling the world and meeting all these young artists, and we talked about this earlier, like struggling to get that first release on a bigger label is just the hardest thing. But if you can find a smaller but like visible label to help you and put you on there, it'll give you the first step on the ladder that gives you something that people will then listen to your demos and stuff. So I was just finding so many amazing, talented artists on the road, and just like, they're playing a tune before I go on. A lot of artists younger artists will tend to play the last track before you go, and they'll play one of theirs, and I'll start then, and then they're like, oh, it's one of mine. It's like, brilliant, what a great way to get someone to take. I'll do it as well. And so I'd be like, what label are you putting on? I haven't got anyone. Do you have got any advisors? Like, right, okay. So I had so many of these that I'd like have in my little folder of like gems, like trying to help them sign them. But a lot of labels won't just take on new artists brand new, because it costs a lot of money to do a release and to get behind someone. If it's just one single, if they've got a big load of music, it's worth a bigger label, really getting behind someone. But usually you need to have an agent and a manager for one of the bigger labels to really, really take it on. So I was like, right, I'm just going to start my own thing and do this. So we started it with like lots of VA compilations where we'd release, like, I'd do like these global, our series now is called the Global Incubator, and we just have, I try and get people from every single corner of the world, so that they're all cross-pollinating each other's music. So when one of them's promoting that this thing's out on this album, they're also getting to listen to this artist from Australia and Lebanon and Scotland and Austin and LA and all this music kind of cross-pollinates each other, and it does. They're all supporting each other. So, and that was really good. And also for myself, because I was finding myself like, when I had my big run of like house stuff that was like a really hot period for me, I was finding that I was like creatively trying to make some weird stuff just to like fix my weird brain into like just satisfy this weird part of my brain that wanted to make some trippy stuff, or more, especially like disco edits and kind of like stuff like that you can't really release disco edits on big labels, but you can on a smaller one. And with and with the trippy kind of weird stuff, there wasn't a label that would do it. You know, I'd play it to people and they'd be like, "Yeah, I love it, but it's way too weird." You know, for the labels that I was releasing on constantly, so I had a bank of them, so I started releasing them on Reptile Dysfunction as well, and it's been like that really. So yeah, it's been good. We took a couple of years hiatus since the pandemic just to kind of like regroup and focus on the academy really, because Hobbs, who I run the Orbit with, is also co-owner of Reptile Dysfunction now. Cool story about him is he actually came to my first Orbit DJ retreat. He was one of my students. The guy's like super talented. He's like one of them annoying people who can do literally everything really, really well. So I took him under my wing and said, "Look, like let's come and intern at my label." He made himself indispensable to the point where it's like we just couldn't run it without him now. He's incredible, and he's now so I just made him he's a joint partner with me at the label now because we'd be screwed. So he's great. And then the same thing. My partners at the time, Dom and the partners as well I had for Orbit when we first started, kind of noticed his talent as well, because we started more and more using him to do things for us, and then obviously we brought him on the staff to work at the retreat, to be a runner and helper and just organizer, and then again he just became indispensable to the point where he's just now an equal partner. He's just taken over my life. Everything I do, he's like, he's just taking over. He's swallowing me up, but it's great.
He likes hanging out with you.
Yeah, no, I like hanging out with him too. He's great. He's just great. He's just and we find lots of talent through the academy like that as well. But he's just a great success story for that.
He's doing feedback with data transmission as well. A bit of stuff for them.
Hobbs.
Yeah.
Hobbs. So he works for data transmission.
Yeah.
Well. So so he does a lot of stuff like that. I think he organised all the radio shows, and he does some feedback A&R stuff and stuff as well. He's brilliant. He's just I don't know when he sleeps, to be honest. He's great.
Wow.
You need people like that on your team, though.
You do, yeah. You need a team. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do any of the stuff I do without I don't have a manager, so I need help with other things. Like that. It's just one of those things. Hobbs is brilliant. He's my day-to-day guy, on all my projects, and he always will be.
Shout out. Do you do your tours yourself then, as far as logistics and everything?
Australia, I have two agents here. I have Mike Toner, big up Mike, he's been on the podcast.
Big up Mike.
And Dom Ferber as well, who's Sydney-based, big up Dom. And they do it together, because I kind of, when I first came into the market, must be 15 years ago or something, I came with Dom, did a few parties, but then Mike booked me for a few as well, for a few of his, and we just really gelled. And I think they're both kind of different agents, but I think I'm really fortunate that not many people get to have two different agents. It's just because of our friendship. We've just all agreed to do it together. So it's good because it gives me a really good balance of gigs. If you look at my tour, I'm playing in really different kind of parties, and that's because of the difference in the agents. It works really well here. I don't have an agent anywhere else in the world. I just do the rest myself. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's just, again, I've been doing it so long. It's just the same. I think if you turn up and do a good job and you're nice to people, and I'm a safe pair of hands, and so my fees will go up and down over time. And 1 minute I'm hot and I've got some hot records, and they have to pay me a bit more, and then the next year maybe not, because it depends where you are. But they always seem to book me anyway. I've got my staple run of the year that I just do, and right now that is kind of enough. It's enough gigs for me to, earn the money I need to earn, but be away from home. Any more away from home right now is rough, But before I had my son, I would be away all the time. This tour that I do in Australia, I tend to do 3 months. I do Asia on the way. I'd do at least 2 months in Australia, and then I'd sometimes go straight to America afterwards and do America on the way home, because it kind of works like that. And then there's a couple of years where I didn't even bother with a house. I just lived out of a suitcase, and I'd stayed in hotels like Tiesto does. Just there's literally no point in paying rent because I'm never there. So, there's been times like that, and then and I've had amazing agents and managers over my career that, it's just for one reason or other, they draw to an end or whatever. I've never had hard feelings with anybody, and it's just right now. I don't really need an agent anyway. There's enough coming in to do it. I play in the markets that I want to spend time in. There's enough people constantly just email. They just email me directly and book me. So it's been. I'm not saying I won't ever have another agent, but I like having Dom and Mike here, because they've done just an exceptional job. That it's just like I'll always work with those guys. And it's I constantly say to them, like, do you want to be an agent in America? Because
Yeah.
you'd be great. You know, it's like they're just really good. You know, they're really, really, really on point. And yeah, so that's my team really. You know, Hobbs and these guys, and the rest of the world just kind of handles itself really. So Australia is so far from home in the time difference. Like you really do need a good agent here, and I'm very fortunate with who I'm working with here.
Oh, that's such a crazy thing to see, like an artist like the size of yourself not having an agent back in Europe and America.
Actually being a dad and in the academy and everything, doing your own.
It's not that hard. It literally, look, if I didn't have gig offers coming in naturally, then I mean, what can an agent really do? Like if they're not, they can. You're obviously not. The demand isn't there, so all they're going to be doing is hassling people to book you that they don't want to book you anyway. So it's like there's enough coming. I think when you've got like a good time to take an agent, and when I probably will do again is when I'm on another top of the wave, when there's some really hot releases and there's a big demand coming in, and that's when you really do need someone to kind of like organize it properly and make sure everything's done. Yeah, and it's worth it then as well, because you've got so much there that it needs somebody to kind of really strategize it properly and you know, work on billing at festivals and stuff like that. But you know, again, I'm pretty comfortable now, and it's when that time comes, maybe I'll take on an agent again. But you know, it doesn't feel like I would need a manager again. I don't feel like I think I'd just hire a PA to do the bits and bobs really, because I'm kind of exactly where I want to be in my career, and I've had such amazing experience with managers, but sometimes I felt like I can't do. I'm being pushed in the direction I don't necessarily want to be, and that's stressful for everybody because they're probably right, but I'm not pretty much always right because they've got the perspective. But in the position wherever I am in my head, if I don't want to do something like, for example, social media is something that always comes up, and it's like you got to do all this social media. And I'm just like, and then they're getting stressed out. I've got this big stress that stops me being creative because I'm like, I've got this thing bearing down on me about social media. I just want to go and make music, and you know, things like that. It's until I don't know. I just don't feel like I've got enough work at the moment. I don't know if a manager. Managers are great for when you're either like an absolute superstar and you have to have a manager there, and the deals that are done, and having someone to just help you get through that, because it's just a lot when you've got so much on. You absolutely need a manager, and also when you're young, and if you're fortunate enough to get a good manager, which I have been, they can change your career, and they did for me. All the managers I've worked with, I'm so grateful for having made those differences. I've never worked with a bad manager. It's always been me that's been in the bad client, you know, that's just got stressed out by the situation where I just want to make music or whatever it is, wherever I am in my life. It's always me that's been the one that's kind of like not been the right part of it. You know, I've had great teams, so, but I just don't. Maybe I'm unmanageable. It's been said before.
I find that hard to see, to be honest.
No, I don't know. It's just like on social media, for example, and I don't know. It's I know what I want to do, and for a while, and then I changed my mind. Like me changing from dubstep to house was extremely stressful for my team at the time. You know, they were like, "What? What are you doing? No, stop it!" And I'm like, "I can't."
I'd stop.
So you know, it's just times like that the things change again, and you go back to having no manager and agent, and then again you come back up and do. I think I shy away from fame a bit. I think that's like something that when I get to a point where I'm kind of known, and especially if it's something I'm not super comfortable with, I just shy away and I retreat back to my little cave again and rebuild.
Make some music.
Yeah,
Interesting too, that point you said about billing with festivals and stuff. Like if you're doing that all yourself and you're telling them that I want to be playing this time or I want to be billed here, when you got all these other artists and stuff as well, like that would be something I would definitely struggle with. Just telling.
Yeah, I do lose out because like, you know, you can't really, especially when I'm shy and no ego and stuff. I get bullied down lineups all the time now because it's just like. But I also don't care that much because as long as I'm not playing some really bad time, I actually genuinely prefer playing earlier because, especially in these days when everything's getting faster, I'd rather play earlier and get the vibe right. You know, as long as there's some people in the room, I'd much prefer that than going on last, where I used to love playing. But now it's so fast and like I don't know, I wouldn't want to follow that. You know, I like to take my own journey and start from a sensible BPM and maybe go there for a bit. But if there's somebody on after me that's slower, I'll always bring it down the last 30 minutes for them. But I don't know. I prefer that. But then with the billing thing, it's just such an ego battle now. And like, I don't care. People that know. And like, if you're on the lineup, as long as it's not, you know, you still people again. My mates, these are my mates booking me on these festivals as well, so they tend to look after me. You know, not disrespect me, but I don't. Again, I don't care that much. I always play on gigs when it's me and another headliner, and I'll tend to be billed below them because they've got an agent or manager insisting, and it happens all the time. But I don't really care because does anyone really care? It's like the industry that cares more than the fans. The fans are the ones that are supporting you, that are making you, putting a hype on you where you get popular. I don't really believe in all that, and I can see it works and people care about it, but I just don't, you know. But it is like I've had to have awkward conversations before when I'm like on the wrong stage or playing, you know, after somebody that plays really aggressively. But I just have to just do it in a nice way and say, look, all due respect, like musically, I don't think this is going to flow and it's going to leave me, you know, struggling. So would you mind if I played before them or maybe on this stage? And usually they understand and they've done it in a rush and not thought. And usually it gets solved. You just have to be polite. It is like terrifying making those things. I mean, some people tactically have an email that's them, but it's not them. They pretend it's not them, like they're another name and they actually answer it on.
We've tried that before.
Yeah, and it works as well. But you know, I think I'm just quite a real person. That I can handle.
Yeah.
I can handle it, and it's like, but I can handle it or I can't. I just don't say anything, and I just turn up and like just get on with it.
It's a very fresh perspective, to be honest. Because as you said, it's a big ego thing for a lot of DJs. To be honest.
Really, really, like it's some people that really care about that, and it does work for them. You know, there's a tactic in you see artists coming through the bullish management companies, and they go far. And I just don't. Me personally, I'm totally happy where I am. I'm not chasing the pyramid stage at Glastonbury headline slot. You know, I'm totally happy on the little stages.
Yeah. So just because we're getting to the end of the podcast, what's next for Dawley? What have you got coming up?
So I've got a nice period in January. Well, I've got a release coming out the 29th of December on Sweaters on Sweatouts.
You got Paluma.
Yeah, Paluma. Yeah, and the Yolanda Be Cool guys. So yeah. I'm really excited about that because I've been making a lot of hip house recently. As I told you before, I've been producing on Sugar Hill Gang's album. So my initial, I love hip house. It's my kind of probably my favorite. The
style.
Fusion of hip hop and house. It's my shit, you know. And I've been so when I started making stuff with them, I was naturally trying to push them into doing some house music. They're not interested back to make it, you know, hip hop, you know, with that, well, Sugar Hill Gang type hip hop. So it's, but it really got me inspired, you know, so I made a load of hip house and my favorite one's coming out on the 29th on Sweaters. So that's really exciting. I've got loads of music backed up. As I said, I took a bit of an easy year this year with releases just to give me time to spend that time with my son and stuff. And I thought one thing that's important with music is like releasing with momentum. If you just put one thing out and then don't do anything for a while, I was doing that a lot. So I've got enough now to be releasing every month for 2 years when I do. So there'll be a lot of music next year. And then I've got this project that I was telling you about. I can't mention the names because it's supposed to get announced at the end of December. It's probably going to be the start of January because, but it's two really incredible names that I'm working with, and we've signed a deal to Sony, and it's going to be a new band. It's a bit different than you'd expect from me. Probably not. 'Cause who knows what to expect from it?
Dubstep.
It's not
Dawley.
dubstep. It's house. It's like it's kind of 90s. It's kind of more like proto house, kind of like it's cool, but it's got a big vocalist on it that everybody's going to know, and it's really, really exciting. So we've just kind of signed an album deal with Sony, and that's gonna drop in hopefully January. So by the time this comes out, we're gonna, and maybe I can announce the names and who it is because it's exciting, but I can't say it now. So the names are
beep beep,
and then or maybe it isn't. Maybe it hasn't been announced yet. So at that point, that'll be a
edit job.
Yeah. We'll just leave it in. It'll be funny. But yeah, hopefully it's announced. It should be announced by then. We're handing in all the masters now. So yeah, so that's exciting. And yeah, just the academy we're launching in Australia. And yeah, I'm just going to be a dad. I'm just loving being a dad. It's like the best thing ever. I wish I'd done it earlier, but I'm also glad I didn't do it earlier because now I've like got everything out of my system as far as touring goes, and I'm enjoying my time at home more than ever. So it's great.
Living the dream.
Yep. Definitely.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much for coming on.
Awesome.
It's a pleasure to have
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Thank you.
Wicked.
Lots of wisdom shared there. Thank you.
No worries.